Bill, if you could ask Ovide a question.
Sure. Ovide, we stopped the overspending this term, and we passed a budget that had a $1.1 billion reduction. And by doing that, we were able to save a family of four $3,000 in new taxes that we didn't have to call to cover that deficit. Now, some of us are saying that the $10.4 billion budget that we put in place could be reduced further to $10 billion, and that $10 billion is enough. Do you agree? And if you do agree, what taxes would you reduce now that you have those savings?
Bill, I thank you and your colleagues in the House and the Senate for giving us a balanced budget. You all applied the real math, the old math, not the new math, to get there. And Charlie Arlington said a very good article today to talk about really the, not just the conservative, the realistic revenue projections that the Speaker and his colleagues and both the House and the Senate were able to achieve to get us into a balanced position. I don't know whether or not we can save another $4 billion, $400 million from our budget, our biennial budget. But what I'm going to do is begin by asking on November 7th, our department heads to do zero-based budgeting. As you know, we have a maintenance budget approach. And so right now, the leadership of the executive branch of government is coming up with a maintenance budget, not zero-based budgeting. We need to get control on the spending side. And we need to make sure that what we're doing is efficient. We need to move to privatize where we can. There's no reason for us to continue to have drilling equipment in the Department of Transportation where private companies can do that. There's no reason to have land surveyors in the Department of Transportation. So there are a lot of opportunity costs that we can save in state government if we work from day one, which I will do, to craft a budget that we can propose to the legislature that brings us to as low spending as possible. Maybe we can save more, $400 million over that 2 years. But we don't know the answer to that because we haven't participated in that kind of a budget approach, and I'll do that. And then to the extent we can save monies, I want to work on lowering our business profits tax, business enterprise tax, because that's the area that we need to focus on. I have an easy plan for tax reform that cuts across the spectrum of business taxation, not just the rates, but also what are the drivers for making it difficult for our businesses to succeed and simplify and pay their taxes. So we need a comprehensive approach there. That's where I would focus my energies if we can lower the spending by state government.
If there's anything that Ovide said that you would like to remark before you answer,
do I get to remark first and then?
Yes, then you can answer the question.
Okay. Well, there are two quick things I would say, and one is that I have to respectfully disagree on his approach to zero-based budgeting in state government, because having put together a budget in state government, I can tell you it's very difficult. It's not structurally set up to be able to do zero-based budgeting. In fact, the last governor to say he was going to do zero-based budgeting, guess who? John Lynch, back in 2004, and then he realized once he got in there, you can't exactly do that. One of the things I would do is tell my commissioners they're going to come in with their budgets at 97% of what the previous biennium was, because government should be getting more efficient as it goes along. The other thing I would just take issue with is Ovid's approach to cutting the BPT and the BET. Ovide and his, it actually isn't as easy as it sounds. It complicates the tax code in New Hampshire more because it picks winners and losers. It says if you're a manufacturing company, you might be able to get a credit on the BET. Also does it for companies that hire students with student loans and pay off some of those loans. I've called for cuts across the board for every company, not picking winners and losers, but saying the business profits tax down to 5%, the business enterprise tax down to 0.25%, no matter what company you are. So those are two areas where I would respectfully disagree with Ovide. But if I can comment on how I would approach the state budget in terms of whether or not it needs to be cut further, we can always find more efficiencies in state government. And one of the things that Governor Benson did, and a study that I would take off the shelves and blow the dust off of, was the Governor's Commission on Finding Efficiencies in State Government that was done in 2003. It was a bipartisan commission and came up with great ideas on how to make state government more efficient, and almost none of the things that were in this report, and it's a thick report, were ever implemented. Things like consolidating certain state agencies like banking, securities, and insurance, making it into one financial services agency, and found you could save $74 million over 1 year alone, and $420 million over 5 years. And so I'd work with the legislature to implement these efficiencies on the state government level. And as I said before, I've worked with the commissioners to bring in budgets at 97%. And the last part is doing what I did in state government, coming up with a system of metrics that measure the efficacy of programs. And those programs that aren't working well, that are inefficient, that aren't serving the population they say they are, they either need to be completely reformed or eliminated altogether. But we can make targeted good budget cuts that way by putting a system of metrics into place in state government.
Would you like to respond?
The only thing I would say is I'd ask the members of the audience here to compare our websites, compare the plans. My website's open2012.com, and you'll see that our plan is reasonable, proportional, it's funded over 2 years. The term of office for the governor and the budget is 2 years. And so you just need to compare on the merits, and I'd invite you to do that.
Kevin, would you like to?
Well, I would just say, I've said all along, we need to think long term. The problem is we've been managing budget to budget for too long. We need to have a long-term plan. And that's why I have a phase down over 7 years by the year 2020. And I would invite you to compare the plans on our websites. And I think you'll see mine is, in fact, a lot easier because it just cuts the rates for all companies rather than going to this winners and losers approach by picking certain sectors. And the other thing, I lower the business profits tax in my plan again to 5% over 7 years. Ovid's only goes down from 8.5% to 8% over 2 years. I don't think that's going to stimulate the economy enough and make it attractive for businesses to want to move into our state.
GrokTV.